Hello, welcome back, and welcome to the start of the Intelligent Assistance Conference for this side of the two conferences, one event. Again, I really appreciate everyone being here. Hopefully got some things to think about with Geraldine and Raghav talking about authentication and assistance in different ways. And I think there's a lot of themes that they brought up in those two different panels or two different presentations that I think can be brought up in future panels either today and tomorrow. So encourage everyone. This will be more interactive at this point. We want people to have some questions ready, any answers they need. That's what we're here for. So we encourage that all the way through the event. I want to just quickly about myself. I'm Derek Topp. I'm the Director of Research at Opus Research. I've been with Opus off and on for about 7 years now, covering what we call conversational commerce, which is largely looking at self-service, automated self-service, and also intelligent assistance and intelligent authentication. We're a research house, and so we do produce reports. We do analyst briefings. We have a blog and write articles, in addition to doing webinars and conferences just like this. So that's my role at Opus, and feel free to ask me any more questions about that. I also want to quickly introduce Amy Stapleton, who's an analyst with Opus Research. She has recently joined us, and she can tell her a little about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Like Derek said, I'm Amy Stapleton. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I just recently joined Opus in the beginning of the year. At the end of last year, I retired from NASA, where I was an IT manager for 14 years, so that was a fun experience. Got to understand how big government bureaucracies work and all that. I was really interested in the intelligence assistant space and virtual agents. I've been interested in that for a while, and so back in 2013, kind of on my own time while I was still at NASA, I started writing the virtual agent chat blog and just kind of giving some opinions on various things that I was reading about, and I've continued to write that a little bit. But as Derek said, when I retired, Opus asked me to come on as an analyst, so I'm enjoying doing that, and so I'm here.
We're happy you're here too. I want to take about 5 or 10 minutes here before we get into the first panel looking at the tools for our digital daily lives, about why we call this intelligent assistance, and then why in the articles and the research and the information that Amy and all of us at Opus are gathering, we've crystallized into what we call an intelligent assistant landscape, looking at the various technology stacks in addition to the use cases and the applications for intelligent assistance. We think this is obviously an emerging field and one that needs some defining, so we're hoping to provide that with this landscape, and this conference also helps as well. So, briefly, intelligent assistance comes by different names. There's virtual agents, virtual assistants, other ways when we talk about kind of assisted self-service. So, but we were looking at the software that augments and helps in human assistance. So that could be across channels as well. So it's in the call center, IVR, online, mobile, the various multi-channels for self-service. By assistance, we're implying that it understands context and has some intent understanding. So that's where we're looking to. It is a conversation one person offers, or in a self-service mode, you ask a question, you get an answer back in a kind of conversational mode. It has targeted information and even moves to an executed task, even a transaction. I think that's where we're looking, where the future of intelligent assistance goes. When we talk about smarter, this is where we're getting into machine learning and ultimately artificial intelligence. I think that's where we hear a lot about this, and we'll talk further about AI and IA and how they actually coexist together. And again, it is in a natural conversational manner, meaning that you take turns in terms of either through a voice response or a chat or text or any type of user interface like that. So again, this is actually how we look at it from the conversational side. This is essentially the smart user interface. We talk about speech, so speech recognition and lifelike text-to-speech, and we talk about text in an input-output method. We used to have chatbots on this, and it still is part of it, and Amy will get into some more deeper about the new bots explosion that we see going on. But those are the channels that we're talking about when it comes to a smart user interface and intelligent assistants. Then it can be represented within avatars, human-like or not, animated. There's different opinions and different thoughts on how that helps or augments an intelligent assistant experience. And then we look at emotions, and cinema analysis is another way that either information can be understood by an intelligent assistant. This could be gestures, it could be face, it could be emotions, even, we talk about, in nonverbal communication. So this is part of what we call the user interface. The back-end technologies that we look at when it comes to intelligent assistants do dive deeply into natural language understanding, semantic search, and machine learning. This is the ability to have continuous improvement, the ability to understand intent, context, and complexity better to deliver a better user experience for the intelligent assistants. Speech analytics can be used as a way to leverage existing recordings or other investments that call centers and others they already have to understand and use that data to provide a better intelligent assistant experience. But and then the machine learning. This is where artificial intelligence means different things for different people, but we're moving in this type of trajectory. On the landscape that we're providing today, we've now included a new category on knowledge management. This is, again, fundamental to our already existing enterprise technologies as a way to aggregate data, to utilize that data and help bridge the gap from a fully automated self-service intelligent assistant experience and a human-assisted one. There's a lot of different companies involved with knowledge management, and we really want to showcase how they're augmenting and complementing what we think of as the intelligent assistance technology stack. So in its block form, this is how we see the technology needs laid out. And by the way, these slides will be available afterwards, so I'm happy to provide them myself. And then we also have some information on our website. So what I just went through is the gray bar on the top layer, looking again at the user interface side, what we call conversational technologies, and the back-end technologies around speech analytics, semantic search, machine learning, and knowledge management. So that's I want to lay that out. Then actually, Amy's going to take over here and talk a little bit more about what you probably can see, but the roles involved and the use cases and really the applications of intelligent assistants that we see out there and how it's growing and changing. Come here.
Okay, so as Derek said, we're kind of explaining the structure of the latest version of the Opus Intelligent Assistants landscape. And so he just described the top layer, which really are the core underlying technologies. So the bottom part is really kind of a taxonomy or a categorization of the whole intelligent assistant space. And we all know that there's a lot of different types of intelligent assistants, a lot of different terms and terminology that's being used. So what Dan Miller and Derek and basically the Opus team has done is they've kind of taken a stance to define what each of these categories really represents. And this may not be exactly what is general knowledge, but this is kind of what we're proposing these various categories represent. So the first category are mobile personal assistants. And with the mobile personal assistants, we're talking specifically about things that help you interact with smart objects. So whether it's Siri on your phone or Amazon Alexa, those things help you connect to smart objects and control the smart objects around you. It could also be an assistant in your car. So that's kind of how we're defining mobile personal assistants. Then the next category is personal advisors. So personal advisors for us are more specialized. They have a specific skill set, and typically they are not bound to one particular organization or brand. So if you think of a travel advisor, that's going to be a virtual assistant that knows specifically about travel. You're not going to be able to, order a pizza with it. And it's going to represent, let's say, offers from various companies. So it's not just going to represent, one brand. It's going to look across multiple companies to get you the best possible offer. Once you move into an assistant that represents one specific company, then you're over into the category of what we're calling the virtual agent or the customer assistant. And this is really the space where Opus has put a lot of their focus. They created a report. Dan authored a report that was available last year specifically around customer assistance, enterprise intelligent customer assistance. So these would be your consumer-facing assistants that are going to answer questions about a specific product or service for a brand. And typically they're frequently asked questions, but they can get deeper as well. Then the last category we have are employee assistants. Traditionally, this has been more assistants that are specialized to help you with office-type tasks, such as scheduling meetings or managing your email, or even maybe connecting to enterprise applications where you need to do your work in a more complex fashion. And we've actually looked at adding some bots to this category now, as we have this growth in Slack bots that are, again, they're kind of specialized, but they really help you do employee type skills. So that's just to explain the landscape, and then when you see the full landscape, you can look to see the various vendors that we've populated within the different blocks of the taxonomy, and you'll see that we've added some, and we've kind of streamlined this a little bit. So basically, this is the 2.0 version of the landscape. The first one was in the fall of last year?
October.
Right, back in October. So we've added a significant number of companies. There's an increase of 57%. We've also kind of changed the speech input and text input output. This is, again, the top conversational layer. Before I don't think we said text input output. We had something about chat bots, but now we wanted to be very clear, since we have sort of a clear delineation between conversational technologies, voice on the one hand, text on the other, so we're separating them out. We're also taking into consideration this new era of bots, so we've actually added some chat bot or Slack bot type capabilities to the landscape, although there's a lot more that we could probably put in there, but we're not including everything. And as Derek already mentioned, we have an emphasis on knowledge management, since that's a very important kind of synthesizing category. So again, just kind of briefly here, some of the things that we're seeing, and then we're going to look at some of the challenges. One of the things that we're definitely noticing, and Geraldine kind of mentioned it, this has really happened very quickly since we had our last conference, is this evolution into conversational user interfaces or user experience. We're seeing this divergence between voice and text, and there's kind of a competition between the two. So if you look at the popularity of messaging platforms and you combine that with the traction we're getting and the advances in natural language processing and machine learning, you have this, what we're calling the Botsplosion, and there just seems to be bots everywhere that are again, they're conversational because there's some taking place, but it's all happening within a texting platform. On the other hand, you have a lot of advances in speech recognition, the ability to map intent and fulfill requests, and you've got this other phenomena, which is the Alexa phenomenon. Everybody's talking about the Amazon Echo, and there's more and more voice-enabled devices. So what's going to happen is tech's going to win out over voice, or the other way around, or maybe one's not going to win out over the other, but a lot of things are converging and happening. It's probably going to have some impact on the intelligent assistant space overall. So challenges ahead. What we're hearing is that customers are demanding seamless self-service. They really want that, and what does that mean? Are we going to be able to meet those expectations? There's a whole lot of hype around machine learning and artificial intelligence. Will we be able to live up to that hype? What does this whole Botsplosion mean? And is it really going to mean the end of apps as we know them? And if it does, what do we have to do? Are we going to have to change the way we present intelligent assistant capabilities to the end user, or what? And then we also need to find some synergies between these bots are our automated capabilities and humans and our existing call center resources. So those are also some challenges. I think you're gonna.
Sure. Yeah. That's right on you there, isn't it? Yeah. So with that, I mean, that was our kind of description of intelligent systems and our way of understanding the land. We want to represent that in some of the use cases that we have here that we want to highlight, including this afternoon with Swedbank, looking at Shell Corporation and what they're doing. Ticketbis, which is a ticketing company similar to Ticketmaster, and Virgin Media Businesses, who's using it from a kind of a like an agency standpoint, and how you can actually brands can use intelligent assistants as well. So there are some broad use cases that we again are trying to outline, and also looking forward to hearing more. And please do send us more information about what people are doing out there. And the topics for discussion are really implementing best practices when there isn't even a best practice yet. But to employ and to deploy an intelligent assistant requires a lot of understanding from others who've already doing it. So we're here to share information and share best practices. Integrating IA to existing assets, that's again leveraging the technologies that are found within contact centers, within enterprises, and then utilizing those to provide even better self-service. Spotting trends and really, that's kind of what we were talking about, the Botsplosion, and Geraldine actually brought up the idea of fraud and bots as well. I think that's interesting. That's a nice little connection here. We're looking at also enterprise use of it from an internal standpoint for HR, for sales assistant, for business processes. We have a great panel tomorrow with Capgemini and Atos looking at how they're looking to transform their business processes based on intelligent assistants. So it really covers the gamut from a business to business side and consumer facing. Intelligent assistants can really transform that. So with that, I want to turn over to Amy, and actually bring up Ilya and Wally. I don't know where you guys are. There you are. To have a panel discussion here, looking at how intelligent assistants are tools for taking over our digital control of digital, not taking over. So go ahead.